Hi from the great outdoors. So last week I talked to you about a little bit about my habit tracker. Today I'm going to share with you 5 habits and goals that I'm working on this year and which ones I add to my habit tracker. And these goals are all related to preventing Alzheimer's disease for me. 5 healthy habits that I'm going to incorporate into this year to prevent Alzheimer's disease. These are my goals for the year. Hi, I'm Anneli. I'm a full-time registered nurse, and my goal is to prevent Alzheimer's disease. I have a huge family history of that, and I don't want to end up with it like my mom and others in my family. I've got my notes here with me because, as you can see, I'm not at home doing this from my room. So I have to look at my notes here so that I can remember all the points that I want to share with you. So these are the things that I want to work on this year. A lot of them I've already been working on, but I want to share with you the things that I find that I'm going to actually want to kind of keep track of. And these are my goals. A lot of them I've been working on for years, but if I do better at them, I reduce my chances of getting Alzheimer's disease. I like to use my habit tracker to keep me accountable, and it's a super simple one that I use, but it helps me see how I'm doing and also lets me know when I'm not sticking to my habits as I should, and it kind of gives me that bit of a boost to say, okay, come on, get working on it a little bit better. I've also got my gloves on. It's -3 Celsius here. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's enough that there's ice. I want you to know that in the description box below, I have a free downloadable, printable habit tracker that you can download and use as is, or you can use it as a template, kind of draw your own into whatever planner journal that you use. So number 1 for me is sleep. I need to work on my sleep. After years and years of doing shift work, running around with the kids. I used to work night shift just so that I could be available for my kids in the morning to take them to school. I'd sleep a little bit during the day and then pick them up from school, and then back in the evening I'd be off to my night shift. My sleep over probably a good 15 years was terrible. Lack of sleep contributes to mental health issues, all kinds of anxiety, depression. It also is a leading factor. If you're not getting the appropriate amount of good sleep, it is related to dementias. So there's so much stuff that goes on during the night when you're sleeping. You can delve into that for hours. There's so many processes that go on during the sleep. A lot of it is also elimination of waste. So it uses up fuel, so it needs it needs to eliminate the waste that is produced and the byproducts of all the things that go on to keeping your brain functioning. So at night, that is when it happens. And if you're not sleeping properly, those byproducts can accumulate in your brain. And those are the things, after several different things that happen, it's not as simplified as I make it sound, but they accumulate, and those can lead into cognitive issues. I used to think I didn't like mornings, and now they're my favorite time. Like, I wake up at 5 o'clock. If I wake up at 5 o'clock, I feel the best for the day, and I feel like I get the most done. So that was number 1. Number 2 is exercise. Heart and Stroke Foundation recommends 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic exercise a week. So it doesn't have to be 30 minutes 5 days a week to account for that 150 minutes. They suggest even 10-minute minimum time frames of aerobic type exercise is good, and the 10 minutes can accumulate over the week. So for instance, at lunchtime, I try to go for a really brisk walk, and I'm lucky enough that there's some really steep hills where I work. So it really is an aerobic workout because I'm hiking up these hills and then coming down and up and down the hill. So I can do that, and even if it's 10 minutes, usually it's 20 minutes in the spring and summer. I like to use my Apple Watch to set when I start doing something. It kind of keeps track of things for me, and I can set my goals into there. Before I had an Apple Watch, I had a Fitbit, and that was fun. It gives you that little bit of a motivation when you see that you've hit your goals, and I don't know, little tiny inspirational kind of motivational things make a difference. And it seems so tiny, but it does help you kind of stick to your goals. That's why if you don't have, technology to kind of give you that little bit of a boost or track what you're doing. The habit tracker, you can just use pen and paper and do that, and it's just a super easy way to see your progress, and it also does the same thing. It gives you that little dopamine burst, and it makes you feel good. All the kind of the really big workouts, if I like to wake up early and do them in the morning, because otherwise I find that the day gets away from me and I just put stuff off and I don't put myself first, which is a no, but it happens, and then I never get it done. So I prefer to do it early in the morning if I can. I do a few different things. I do like weightlifting to build muscle, and also for bone density, because I don't want osteoporosis. Weightlifting builds muscle, which increases your metabolism because your muscles use up more fuel than fat. And the other thing I like to do is the aerobic exercise. Whew, I thought I heard something. I have to be careful. The other thing I want to do is aerobic exercise, which is where your heart rate goes above resting level and you keep it at that for a period of time. And also I do pelvic floor exercises, because pelvic floor is something also that you need to look after so that you don't have incontinence as you age. Number 3 is stress reduction. So I like to meditate every morning. If I don't do it in the morning, sometimes I do it later on the day. I don't think it matters. Meditation doesn't have to be the kind where you're listening to something and closing your eyes and sitting there very still. Different types of meditation include just going for a walk. And I've started to realize that I have too much information overload. I've got stuff going in all the time. When you're wearing earbuds and listening to audiobooks and podcasts, you're listening to videos, you're doing this, you're doing that, it's just constant stimulation. So what I like to do, like this morning when I hiked up here to this spot, is I don't listen to nothing, because it's so nice to just have quiet. And that's a form of meditation, and it's a stress reducer, especially if you do it in a forest like this in nature. That is meditation in itself. The benefits of decreasing your stress is that it lowers your blood pressure. Stress is a risk for dementia, like Alzheimer's disease. All kinds of chronic illnesses can be caused by too much stress, so you want to reduce stress. So the other way that I reduce stress is that I used to do morning pages, but now I just journal a little bit in the morning. I usually do it every morning because it helps me put down on paper things that may be worrying me, or sometimes I just write about good things. And the other thing that I've started doing, and I used to do this years ago, but I have so much stuff that I want to do, and it's all circling around in my brain. And what I found is I take my bullet journal, get a clean page. At the beginning of the week, I put down everything I'm supposed to do, everything that I have to remember. And then what I do after I've put down everything from my brain onto the paper, I go through my calendar and I add all those things into the calendar, so there's a piece of time for that specific thing. And I don't know, it's just all that kind of stuff gets out of your brain and you feel a little bit more relaxed because you're not trying to remember everything. So I also track my meditation on my habit tracker. I like to see, how long I can keep that going without big long breaks in between. I think this is the 4th thing that I do is I track, and my goal is nutrition. I need to increase the variety of plant-based foods I eat. I am a plant-based eater. My lack in this is that I'm not a huge fruit eater. I'm not particularly a fan of sweet stuffs. I love savory stuff. So my goal for this year is to incorporate more variety into my foods. The last thing, the 5th thing, is I've got nature down. I have beautiful forests around me, but I don't take advantage of them. And there's so many health benefits from being out in nature. There's a thing, and I've even got a blog post about it, which I will link in the description box below, about forest bathing. Forest bathing is a thing, and Korea and Japan call it something else, and it's written in my blog post. I can't remember what it is, but there are hormones, I guess, that the trees emit that actually they have found boost our immunity. So walking in nature like this and taking lots of deep breaths and breathing it in is good for your health. So I want to incorporate more going into nature at least once or twice a week, like really going out on the weekends for the day, for a few hours, doing something like that. What I'm tracking in my habit tracker is my meditation, my exercises, which include separately I'll track weightlifting, my aerobic exercise, and my pelvic floor exercises. I've also added nature to it to make sure that I go outside in nature for once or twice a week. And those are 5 things that I'm tracking on my habit tracker. I'll include the links to the habit tracker that I have for you that you can download in the description. I'll also put a link to the bullet journal I use and a link to my blog post about forest bathing. So this video right here, take a look at it because it shows you how I use my bullet journal for my habit tracker. I'll see you next week. Have a great week and get outdoors and enjoy some fresh air. Bye.